Back with more Buffy. This is episode 3 of season 5, and I'm very excited to come with the season, see what's going to happen next. I'm really liking where things are kind of going so far. I know it's only been 2 episodes, but you know, there's definitely some kind of mystery going on with Dawn, whoever the fuck she is, and I am intrigued as to the direction they're taking it as a whole, because you know there's a lot of comical moments still this season, much like season 4, and I really like that kind of direction. So I'm intrigued if that's going to continue and exactly where they're kind of going to go with like a big bang for the season, perhaps, or just some of the big story arcs of the season being set up. I'm interested in seeing whether or not they'll be introduced anytime soon, or if it's going to be like a slow burn kind of thing. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm very, very excited to carry on, as I always am when I jump back into the show. So yeah, let's just dive right into the next one and see what else season 5 has to offer.
Yeah, maybe it's definitely time to start looking for a new place. Something a little nicer. Buffy, you been to hell? They had 1 bedrooms, right?
That feels good. Ow! What are you doing? Anyway, I mean, you can't blame me for being critical.
I'm just trying to like comfort him, I think.
A movie about witches, right, Sandra?
Who uses a cauldron anymore?
Last step of my forging.
Is that a demon or is that a like face tattoo?
It's very Mediterranean. I want it. Pay anything. And that's the bedroom.
Guys, you can't save it for the bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, good point.
Don't need to be reminded of where the wild things are.
Because right now, things are looking pretty untogether, and you can't expect you just to wait around for...
Quiet, please. Anya, what is
Aww.
this? What's going on with you?
It's like hearing his parents fighting, but it's him.
Is my arm...
Hands up at the wrist.
Oh! Oh, Giles. I mean, he tried.
You are not the Slayer.
Can you imagine if he was?
Concern me.
He looks like a burnt crisp.
Well, I'm not dead or unconscious, so I say bravo for me.
This one, see if your guy's in
A very good point.
He uses tools, devices. He's also
Oh.
supposed to be very focused.
Kinky demon.
Since he mentioned
You're scavenging, ain't I?
Very pretty.
Spike, you mean a great tall roby thing like that one?
Oh!
Take cover! Big guy! Kick her ass!
Oh no!
Very nice! What's on your side? Watch out!
Oh, damn! Ah, Detective Xander.
slowly.
Oh no. Huh. Did it clone him? I mean, I like Xander, but 2 of him?
No way! Who is... me? What am I doing in there? Buffy. Me, Buffy.
You got hit with the alien demon flare thing. Oh. What are you doing with the mannequin? Well. Oh!
I was thinking that I'd have you head up our interior carpentry crew. See how it goes. It's more responsibility.
Oh.
But it pays better.
I'm leaving my home number here.
She's coming on to him. Me.
Call me.
What the hell? So is he like evil clone or
Anya, you there?
just like what Xander wants to be?
We have to find it, and we have to kill it.
Oh. This does kind of feel like a mix of Doppelgangland and A New Man in terms of like what's happening to Xander.
Every Christmas, we watch Charlie Brown together, and I do the Snoopy dance. It's an evil robot constructed from evil parts that look like me, designed to do evil.
Or it's tough.
Or it's tough.
I was gonna look for tough anyway. You have to help me figure this out, you know.
But I never help. I get in trouble and Buffy saves me.
That's
not true, yeah.
Sometimes we all hope to save you. and sometimes you're not in trouble.
I don't know, maybe I should just let him have it. Take my life, please.
Sander,
man.
no. You're just
He
tired.
just has like all the
It's
self-confidence.
Hey, wait till you have an evil twin. See how you handle it.
Oh, we did.
funny. I handled it fine.
Oh, I love that episode so much.
So,
The seat's right there, guys.
when do we get a car?
A car.
And a boat? No, wait, I don't mean a boat. I mean a puppy. Or a child. I have a list somewhere.
What are you talking about?
Just, we have to get going.
Wow, playing the game
I
of
don't have
life
time
really got
just
to her.
let these things happen.
You were gonna live for thousands of years. And now you're gonna age and die.
That's true.
That must be terrifying.
Yeah.
Get away from her!
Oh boy.
Xander?
Get out.
What is it? Make it go away.
So you're thinking we split up?
Aww.
Yeah, he took the places where he might try and
Maybe it just says more about me that I think
the
the Xander that looks a bit like shit and
I swear this time I know I had that.
covered in garbage and stuff is the real Xander.
We already know. We're on our way.
Oh dear Lord.
Buffy, our Xander. Did he seem a little...
He seemed kind of forceful and confident. That's not Xander.
I said, oh dear Lord.
You
Eh.
always say that.
As near as I can tell, Toth was attempting to split the Slayer into two different entities.
Oh.
Yes. One with all the qualities inherent in Buffy Summers, the other with everything that belongs to the Slayer alone. They're both real. They're both
Yeah.
Xander. Neither one of them is evil. There's nothing in either of them that our Xander didn't already possess.
I still don't get the original.
That's really
plan.
cool. I like that
I mean, why
idea.
do it? The Slayer half would be like Slayer concentrate, pretty unkillable.
Yeah.
But the two halves can't exist without each other. Kill the weaker Buffy half, and the Slayer half dies.
So the same goes for the Xanders.
Listen to him. He's all smooth. You have to know it's me.
Oh.
I'm thinking this is gonna last about 15 seconds. I'm thinking less.
Well, this has escalated quite quickly. Well, this is proof, I think, that Xander's his own worst enemy.
Instead of having Slayer Buffy, you could have Buffy Buffy.
I have Buffy. Being a Slayer is part of
Exactly.
who you are. You keep thinking I don't get that, but there's no part of you I'm not in love with.
Oh.
We better get there soon. If Xander kills himself, he's dead. You know what I mean? Give it to me. Buffy. Which one's real?
We can prove you're both Xander.
Yeah. How?
Well, there has to be a way.
Oh, what number am I thinking of?
I don't think that's gonna do it.
11.5. Wrong. Oh, but see? Look.
It's a nickel someone flattened on the railroad track. I found it on the construction site. I thought it was cool. It's not magic.
Oh.
No. Let's go.
Oh, wow. Look who's back.
Oh, great. Rob boy.
Just bought the apartment as well. I had to replace the door already.
Little gun pieces.
You need to shoot the demon with his own thing, and then kill the weaker one, and then the other one dies as well. I really like the design of him though. I mean, he needs a like much better skincare routine, but you know. Does Xander own the same outfit twice, or are they like slightly different
Doesn't it
shirts?
make everyone want to lock them in separate rooms and do experiments on them? Just me then.
Yeah, you freak.
So, I can take the boys home, and, you know, we can all have sex together, and then, you know, just slap them back together in the morning.
She's joking.
Well, what do we do if it doesn't work?
Kill us both, Spock.
They're kind of the same now.
Yes, he's clearly a bad influence on himself.
Let the spell be ended.
You gotta be kidding. Did the spell be ended? That's not gonna work.
Obviously,
Oh.
it the other way. Put him back.
That's where Spike slapped, and that's where
Aw.
Anya and I drowned the Sapavro demon. Oh, and right there, that's where I got my heart all ripped out.
Oh,
I just thought you could help carry a little.
Me? Buffy has super strength. Why don't you just load her up like one of those little horses?
You two have your friction, but she digs the whole package. It's obvious. Still, I do envy you sometimes. I mean, for the sanity. Not that I'm still in the Buffy. Not that I ever was. I'm well aware of how lucky I am. Half me is just on fire, going crazy if I'm not touching her. The other half is so still and peaceful. Just perfectly content.
like a
Just
corpse.
This is the one. But she doesn't love me.
Oh. I mean, she didn't say it back in the car, did she? I mean, I didn't think it was like the right kind of moment to say it back, but... Okay, really good episode. I really liked that one. I don't know, there's just... I tend to really enjoy the kind of Xander-centric ones. I kind of have noticed that. And, you know, it's not every so often we actually get a Xander-centric episode, I don't think. So it is always a nice treat when one does kind of pop up. And to have one quite early on in the season as well is really cool. And the whole idea of, like, having, like, kind of another doppelganger. So I mentioned before, it's kind of a mix of doppelganger and a new man. So obviously there was a doppelganger, basically. Well, technically. And then it was also kind of, for the most part, until we found out what was actually like going on with the spell or whatever that happened, it was kind of everyone kind of guessing which one was the real Xander and seeing him for who he really was and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting kind of cross between different episodes we've gotten before, but revealing new things about characters, which I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, everything that was great. Since this is like Xander's episode, I'll talk about him right at the end. But I thought the idea of like the Toth demon, I really liked the kind of plan to like split Buffy into halves and you can have like Slayer concentrate. I thought that was a really clever idea. I really liked that, and the design of the demon as well I thought was really, really cool. And how that kind of tied into everything I thought was very cleverly done. And while that actually would have made a very interesting episode if it had actually happened to Buffy, that had actually happened. I feel like it almost would have kind of been a weird kind of rehash of Helpless in a way, I guess. So it makes sense that they kind of subverted that expectation and had the plan go a bit wrong and Xander got affected instead. So I liked how that kind of all turned out, and that was all really, really cool. Dawn was there very, very briefly, and Joyce, but we didn't really get anything new from them or what's going on with that, so just gonna keep playing the waiting game, I guess. But we'll see what happens with that. And what else? Oh, we've got Spike very, very briefly. I am looking forward to the day when he's really brought back into the action properly, because we've only really gotten him very sparingly in every episode so far this season, so I'm hoping we kind of get him really involved in things again very, very soon, because I'm missing not having Spike around that much. Even if he's like main cast, he doesn't really have like a huge presence in the episodes, which is a shame. So I'm hoping we get a bit more of him very, very soon, maybe even like a Spike-centric thing. But that being said, I did enjoy what he brought to this episode with, you know, the lamp getting destroyed and him cheering on the demon. That was very, very funny. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. I liked that we got like a Willow and Xander scene as well, because, you know, they've had such a long, sometimes complicated friendship between the two of them, but, you know, I think they're two of the most important people in each other's lives. So the fact that, you know, Xander went to Willow and tried to prove himself to her, and we learned a bit more about like their past as friends as well, through that scene was very, very cool to get. And yeah, you know, Willow just getting more and more confident, I think, in like casting spells and stuff like that. She doesn't really seem to doubt that her spells won't work anymore. which I quite like seeing that kind of growth. So that was really cool. And seeing a bit of, you know, Xander's not so perfect family, which we've got hints of before. Actually, like hearing his parents like shouting when they were upstairs at the start. It's really sad, if anything, but I do enjoy kind of getting that insight into Xander's life and kickstarting, you know, the process of him getting his own place, which he now has, I assume. I imagine he's keeping that apartment, which is really, really cool. I actually really liked the kind of design of that apartment. So if we get to spend a bit more time there, that's really cool. So we've kind of seen, even in the last episode, you know, Giles got the magic box. So maybe everyone's just finding their feet. And I do like that the two people in season 4 who were really lost, really, were Giles and Xander, felt like they didn't have a place. Now they both literally do have a place. So that's kind of cool. Even if they haven't, like, completely resolved having a place in the team, they have a place to themselves now, which I think is definitely a good first step. So good for them. And then one thing I will say, the whole thing with the coin and the, like, was he like hypnotising the people and the like confidence and that ended up being like a complete red herring and stuff. I don't think they really needed that. And then they kind of did it as like the red herring, so you kind of thought maybe this other Xander was like evil or something before we got the reveal of what was actually going on. But I don't know, I just felt like the fact that this was another Xander who was a lot more confident than Xander normally is anyway was kind of different enough, and we didn't really need the coin, because you just felt like maybe the personality of this Xander, or, you know, maybe a look in his eyes or something could have been what allowed him to kind of live Xander's best life, quite literally. But again, that's a very, very minor little thing. I don't really mind in the long run. And they also surprisingly did some very interesting stuff, I think, with Buffy and Riley in this episode. Again, the whole idea that I really liked of like Slayer concentrate when they kind of wanted to split Buffy, and Buffy being kind of insecure almost, I think, about what Riley would have thought of that and whether or not he'd actually have wanted that to happen. I like what Riley said there with, like, you know, being a Slayer is part of who she is. Even if he does kind of tell her to, like, you know, take some time to yourself and everything, which is valid, you know. But I think Buffy may have taken that to mean that he still doesn't quite understand what being the Slayer means to her in the way he definitely didn't understand in season 4, as they talked about before, whether or not him and the Initiative was just his day job and it was a way of life for Buffy to be the Slayer. I feel like Riley's definitely got more of an understanding of that now, which I really, really like. And I did enjoy that they almost seem to have an almost easy-going romance on the surface level, and especially from the way Xander was seeing it in this episode. Because, you know, he saw them making out in the bedroom and they were looking around the flat. Riley was giving Buffy the massage at the start when they were all hanging out, and then when Xander tried it on Anyo, it didn't go very well. So, you know, from like the surface level, at least from Xander's viewpoint, they were like this perfect couple getting on really well. Which is why I really liked that final scene with Xander and Riley. Xander kind of got the truth, and Riley admitted, well, at least he thinks Buffy doesn't love him. I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't think she's ever said it, and there was a chance for her to say it back in this episode, she didn't. So I think that could be something they're building up towards, maybe building a wedge between Buffy and Riley, which would be interesting to see where they go with it. Honestly, like, Buffy's got such a busy life, maybe she's just too busy to love anyone, you know? So that's very interesting, and I liked what they did with those two in this episode. I thought that was pretty interesting, and again, I like getting the feeling that they're setting things up to kind of explore later on down the line or pay it off later on down the line. I feel like that's definitely a thread that they need to explore, especially when it's a thing that comes up right at the end of the episode. So I'm excited to see where they may take that, and the fact that Riley knows, or at least believes, that Buffy doesn't love him. He's still content with that relationship and he still wants to make her happy and stuff. I don't know, I just think Riley's a good guy, you know. So I thought they did some very interesting stuff with him. And also the kind of Zanya? Is that their ship name? I don't know, but I meant to say Xander and Anya relationship as well. Because I really like those two together. You know, they're growing on me more and more. I'm loving Anya more and more and more as the episodes go by. She has some really funny lines. I'm really glad she's part of the main cast. And it was interesting to kind of see her try and choose between the two Xanders at one point, and classic Anya fashion at the end as well, saying, let's just keep them both for a bit so I can sleep with them both. Classic Anya humour, which I really enjoyed. And I really enjoyed what they did with her as well. They didn't just make it all about her and Xander's relationship in terms of developing her in this episode. It was about her as well. Because obviously she got hurt in the last episode. And I like that they kind of continued that. You know, she could have just been better in this episode and they didn't explore any further, but the fact that they kept her being injured, I really liked, and the fact that that kind of opened her eyes to how short her life is now compared to what she thought it was going to be when she was a demon, which is something I never considered, and I really, really like. They took the time to kind of explore that worry in Anya and allowed her to start to move past that, I think, and Xander's definitely helping her move past that, or at least the confident side of Xander did. But we know that that side of Xander is in there, deep, deep down. And, you know, I think if she was stuck with, like, suave, confident Xander all the time, I think she'd probably get really annoyed and pissed off with him. So I think it definitely is the best of both worlds, having Xander just the way he is. So I really liked what they did with Xander and Anya's relationship, and exploring Anya and her kind of worries about mortality, I guess. Very interesting thing that I never considered, so I really like that they kind of explored that. And yeah, Xander. And they, you know, they set it up quite a lot in season 4, the fact that Xander was feeling a bit useless, also in the Zeppo in season 3, but he didn't feel like he was really part of the group, he was very useless. Everyone was kind of moving on with their lives and growing up and changing, and he was kind of stuck in his parents' basement, you know, dead-end job after dead-end job, basically, you know, just going through them, not really having a lot of stability outside of Anya, really. So to see him kind of start to at least start to take those steps to becoming a bit more independent and grown up in this episode, like beginning the search for an apartment, I think was a great thing for him anyway. So the fact that he actually has found a place, granted he got that place through being the confident Xander, I guess, it is still technically part of him, so he still did manage that, and it's still his accomplishment, but I don't know if now he's back to normal, his kind of lack of self-confidence, I feel he probably wouldn't give himself the credit for that anymore, which is kind of sad in a kind of twisted way. But I love what they explored, that feeling of Xander always feeling like he's a bit useless, and the fact that this confident version of him was living his life better than he could. But you know, life's not meant to be easy, I don't think, and that's why Xander's so compelling to me as a character, because he never has it easy. He's very, very relatable, very flawed, but that's what makes him, I think, one of the more realistic and relatable characters in the show. Because we know I had my struggles with him in season 3, but I fucking adored him in season 4. That's by far my favourite season for him so far. And I continue to really love him. I love that I love Xander again. It's really nice to kind of heap praise on Xander, because I did struggle for a time. So it's nice to kind of be in that place where I really love Xander again. And his worries were very relatable to me personally, feeling like you're kind of stuck, a bit hapless and useless, and the idea that he had these kind of two distinct personality splits, a very hapless kind of version of himself and then this very confident version of himself. I liked that, and they found each other funny. For some reason that just feels like such a Xander thing that really, really worked. And yeah, I just really liked what they kind of did with him, because they've explored it a lot, I think, with his kind of lack of self-confidence and his family issues, and the fact that he does feel like he doesn't contribute a lot to the group, he's a bit useless and doesn't really have a future or a set plan. But the fact that they kind of continue to explore that in this episode, it didn't feel like, oh yeah, we've gone through all this before. Because they kind of changed it up by having like the whole split kind of demon thing. And it was just a great kind of character study, really, and I ate up all the character shit, and this was a great kind of stepping stone, I think, for Xander to actually get past that hurdle that he was kind of stuck in throughout season 4. I feel like this was a big step forward for him. I kind of feel proud of him, actually. I feel a sense of pride and like, oh, my child's doing well, you know, when your child comes first place in the school run at school or something, or does well in the school sports day. That's how I'm feeling about Xander's achievements, but I really like that he's kind of moving forward. You definitely need to get out of the house, I think, because I don't think necessarily there's anything wrong with, at that age, like still being in like your parents' basement or whatever, but the fact that I don't think his parents are the best role models to be around for him, and I think part of him not being able to grow up was the fact that he was stuck listening to his parents argue all the time, and you know, I think instead of facing his bad family life and his lack of career prospects at the time, it makes sense that he'd want to stay kind of childlike, because that's a very innocent time and he didn't have any worries about getting jobs or growing up or, you know, going to college, you know, finding work, getting a house, starting a family. You didn't really have any of those worries when you were a kid. So it makes sense to me that Xander would always want to revert back to being in that kind of state of mind, when the alternative is to kind of address, you know, his parents' awful kind of relationship and the fact that they haven't exactly treated him very well from what we've gathered. So I really liked that whole kind of character study for Xander in this episode. I thought it worked so well, and I really, really loved it. And man, Xander's just a fascinating character to me, so I always love it when he gets his own kind of episodes that really focus on him. And it succeeded in that massively, but we also got some really interesting stuff like with Buffy and Riley, and Anya as well, which is quite an achievement, really. So yeah, I really, really like this episode a lot, and I'm very excited to see where they're going to take the season next. So if we get like an episode like this about Anya and about Tara, and even to an extent maybe about Dawn. I mean, we got a lot of Dawn-centric kind of stuff in the last episode, but I feel like we still need more of it when we actually find out what the fuck's going on with her, because I just don't know. If we get more stuff like that, like the proper character stuff, even like, God forbid for some people probably, but like a Riley-centric episode I'd really like to see. I think that would be really interesting. Just to see where he's at now, because I think it could have been very interesting if maybe Riley had gone through this in this episode. You know, what would his two halves be like? Would one be maybe the person he's kind of becoming now, and the other one would be, you know, full initiative uniform Riley? And that could have been an interesting kind of concept if they did that. But there's so much to explore for him there as well. And yeah, if we get more episodes like that this season, I'd be fucking over the moon, because I think that'd be fantastic. And yeah, I just absolutely adore this episode. Love to focus on Xander, but I love the other character stuff we got as well. Some really funny moments, as we always do have. And yeah, this season's off to a very solid start. I'm very, very excited to see where they're going to take it. But yeah, fantastic episode. Really, really loved it. And my next reaction, I believe, will be Angel Season 2, Episode 3. So yeah, we'll be jumping back into Angel next. And yeah, until my next reaction, thanks for watching.